agriculture, livestock farming, industry. So we will see whether we can integrate aquaculture with such an activity. So we were discussing about fish cum duck farming. This is important because fish and duck farming is a popular in aquaculture practice in the world because they match very well. Ducks produce a large amount of dung, so that can be considered as food for cultured fish, as well as ducks excrete a lot of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So duck dung add nutrients to water. Okay, and this happened actually in the history. So when ducks get into water and trying to find food in fish ponds, so gradually it evolved and now it is practiced as an industry. And here, as we discussed last time, the fish pond partly fenced to form a dry run or wet run. So I told you what is dry run, what is wet run. Dry run means we keep our ducks away from the water. Wet run means we keep our ducks partly in the water, so they have free access to water. Ducks have free access to water. So we keep them in pens. We keep ducks in pen. It's called net pen. It's an enclosure, right? 40-50 centimeter above and below the water surface. So that means ducks can easily move into water whenever they need, and also they can come again to the dry area in the pond dike. පොකුණේ උරට පහසුවෙන් එන්න පුළුවන්. පොකුණේ උරට පහසුවෙන් එන්න පුළුවන්. And sometimes if our pond is very large, we can prepare a small island. We can prepare a small island so the ducks can come and rest on the island. This is possible if we practice extensive aquaculture. So hope you all can remember, we discussed about intensive aquaculture, semi-intensive aquaculture, and extensive aquaculture. Extensive, semi-intensive, and intensive. In extensive aquaculture, we have large ponds. Our pond management is very low. Fish are reared freely. So in such a pond, we can construct an island in the center so ducks can rest in the island, right? And we can have dry run or wet run depending on our requirement. And we can keep either type of ducks. Sometimes we rear ducks to take eggs, sometimes for meat. So whether they are meat ducks or egg-laying ducks, we can keep both in our aquaculture ponds. And usually ducks reach marketable size within 2 months. Now, as you know, broiler takes around 45 days. That means 1.5 months. So ducks, there are some improved varieties that grow up to marketable size within 2 months. So they are actually feeding machines. If we provide enough food, they will eat and grow very fast. So that means 2 months is enough. Now, you need to understand that when our ducks grow to the marketable size within 2 months, but fish will not grow such a fast rate. So the fish growth rate may be slow. So in that case, we can have 2-3 duck culture cycles while we have 1 fish culture cycle, right? And because we do not keep ducks when they grow up to marketable size, we don't keep them with us, because if we keep them for further, their food conversion efficiency will low and they will lose their weight. Therefore, within 2 months, once they come to marketable size, we have to immediately sell them. Okay. And how many ducks per pond? How many ducks we stock in a pond? It depends on the quantity of excreta per duck, which depends on the species of duck. Now, can you see excreta, droppings of ducks? It all depends on the species. Some species produce a lot of excreta or dung. Some others produce less excreta. So therefore, depend on the ducks, their ability to make excretions, because excretions are important here for us. We use duck dung, their droppings, as feed for our fish, and also duck droppings will add nutrients to the water. So the mature egg-laying duck produce 50 kilogram manure per year. Can you see? 50 kilogram per year annually. අවුරුද්දකට එක ඩක් කෙනෙක් අවුරුද්දක් ජීවත් වුණොත් එයා කිලෝග්‍රෑම් 50ක් විතර විශාල ඩං ප්‍රමාණයක් නිෂ්පාදනය කරනවා. Right? So therefore, we have to consider the ability of our ducks to produce excreta when we determine the number of fish we stock in our tanks. Okay? So as a guide, you can consider around 2,000 fish per hectare, 2,250 fish per hectare, and ducks 3,000 per hectare. Right? 2,000 fish, 3,000 ducks. And we have to add filter feeding fish and omnivorous fish. Why? We don't add much herbivorous fish, but we add filter feeding fish and omnivorous fish. Why? Why we add more filter feeding fish and omnivorous fish? Tell me, as undergraduates think, what is happening in the pond? We are adding more filter feeding fish. Filter feeding fish. What filter feeding fish eat? They filter the water and eat. What do they eat? Can you tell me? What do they eat? Filter feeding fish.
Microorganisms in the water.
Yes, microorganisms, but I need the scientific term. You are correct. But what are they? What filter feeding fish eats?
Duck's manure.
Sorry?
Duck's manure. No.
No.
Okay.
They eat duck manure, duck dung. That is correct. But filter feeding fish eat something else. Why do they filter feed? Filter. To find what? What do they really eat? Ayyo.
Shakaplavanga.
Yes. They eat plankton. That is the correct answer. They eat plankton. Plankton. There are two types of plankton, neither. Huh? phytoplankton, PHYTO, phytoplankton, ශාක ප්‍රවාංග, zooplankton, සත්ව ප්‍රවාංග. මෙන්න මේව තමයි filter feeders ලා කන්නේ. Phyto means plants, ශාක ප්‍රවාංග. Zooplankton, සත්ව ප්‍රවාංග. Filter feeding fish eat phytoplankton and zooplankton. When phytoplankton grow, phytoplankton provide food for zooplankton. Then zooplankton will grow. Why phytoplankton grows so luxuriantly? Phytoplankton grow because of droppings of ducks, duck manure. Because of duck manure. Because ducks add manure, phytoplankton will grow. When phytoplankton grows, zooplankton will grow. Then plankton highly abundant in the pond. So we need filter feeding fish. And we need omnivorous fish also. Then you answer. So one of you told duck droppings. Yes, omnivorous fish eat plant and animal matter both. And omnivorous fish eat duck droppings. So we can add omnivorous fish. So we don't need lot of herbivorous fish. ශාක භක්ෂක මාළු මේ වෙලාවේ අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ශාක වැවෙනවා නම් පොකුණේ we can add herbivorous fish too. Now with the ducks you can have filter feeding fish, omnivorous fish. If plants grow on the bottom, you can add herbivorous fish too. And if we stock required number of fish into the pond, there won't be any issue. Why? So the whole system start to recycle. Ducks will produce droppings, fish will eat, nutrients will be absorbed by phytoplankton, phytoplankton will be eaten by fish. So the nutrient cycling starts to occur, right? And ducks always swim close to the bottom and they try to find food. So they disturb the bottom and add nutrients to the water. When ducks swim close to the bottom, they disturb the bottom and nutrients are added to the water. Nutrients are added to the water. And so this nutrient will enhance phytoplankton and algal growth. So I showed you these things when we were watching the video clip. We sadly stopped the class last time. Now this is a wet run, right? Now this is a wet run. So ducks can come into the water. So this is a dry run. So now the pen or the cage of ducks on the dike. So when they release, they can come to the water and go back. Now this one is a wet run. That means partly the cage, partly in the water. And we can culture duck, fish, and also we can grow vegetables together. You can see here, duck house is here. So we take water from the pond and night droppings, ducks droppings, we add to the pond. And this water, highly nutritious, this water we use for our plants. So we can construct our duck houses on the pond, by the dike, different places. And when they excrete into the water, their droppings contain a lot of organic matter, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium. So therefore, highly nutritious. That is why they are called living manualing machines. පණ තියෙන පොහොර නිෂ්පාදනය කරන machine, living manualing machines. Dabbing of ducks. Dabbing කියන්නේ ducks ලා පතුලට ගිහිලා අර හොටේ එහාට මෙහාට කරලා පතුල හාරනවා. That is called dabbing. Dabbing of ducks. That is their behavior. Ducks. ඒගොල්ලන් පතුලේ ඉන්න සත්තු පණුවෝ ගොළු බෙල්ල සොයන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ බීක් එක කියන්නේ හොටේ පතුලේ එහාට මෙහාට දෙපැත්තට සොලවලා dabbing කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක. So during dabbing they add nutrients to the water. And the ducks eat whatever available, maybe insects, tadpoles, mollusks, worms, aquatic plants, whatever available. Even small fish, if they get a chance, they will eat. So therefore, when we stock fish, it is better to stock advanced fingerlings. Over 10 centimeter size. Advanced fingerlings. What is fingerlings? What are fingerlings? Fingerlings කියන්නේ ඇඟිල්ලක් තරමේ මාළු. Fingerlings. Fingerlings කියන්නේ ඇඟිල්ලක් තරමේ මාළු. එතකොට අපි advanced fingerlings. කියන්නේ ඇඟිල්ලකටත් වඩා ටිකක් ලොකු මාළු පැටව තමයි අපි පොකුණට දාන්නේ. Otherwise ducks may eat them. Okay? Fingerlings. Initially at 6,000 per hectare. So we don't need to add any fertilizer to such ponds. So ducks add fertilizer. And we were watching last time this short video. When we stop, let's see whether we can watch it today. Can you see the video? Can you all see the video? Okay, thank you. Okay, now you understand what is duck and fish integrated culture and how to conduct it. And while watching video, you understand how farmers really practice this. Actually, ducks do not breathe when they are in the water. They are birds. They can't breathe under the water. When they are under the water, they keep their nostrils, their noses closed. They have muscular valves, so they can close their nostrils when they are in the water. They can stay underwater for a long time. For a few minutes they can, right? They don't breathe when they're in the water. When they are under the water, they don't breathe. And we can culture fish with pigs, but this is not very popular, but can be seen in some Asian countries. Again here, mm, uh, we used pigs and pig manure, and fish are raised just like ducks. Duck and fish culture, fish are raised in the pond, and pig excreta rich in organic manure and add nutrients to the water. Now the problem is of fish and uh, uh, so the link to this video I have given in the presentation. When you read the presentation, you can find the video, the link, so you can watch it later if you could not watch now. Okay. And when we culture pigs and fish together, pig manure contains lot of organic matter, lot of carbon, lot of organic matter. When there are a lot of organic matter, the problem is organic matter decomposition. To decompose organic matter, bacteria need lot of oxygen. So therefore, decomposition. වියෝජනය වේගවත් වෙනවා වතුරේ. වියෝජනය වේගවත් වෙනකොට වෙන්නේ වැඩි වියෝජනයක් වෙනකොට වියෝජනය කියන එකෙන් අපි අදහස් කරන්නේ කාබනික ද්‍රව්‍ය බැක්ටීරියා සහ දිලීරවල ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය නිසා ඔක්සිජන් ඔක්සිජන් විශාල වශයෙන් භාවිතා කරමින් වියෝජනය කරනවා. ඔක්සිජන් භාවිතා කරන්නේ බැක්ටීරියා සහ දිලීර. එතෙන්දී විශාල වශයෙන් ඔක්සිජන් අඩු වෙනවා කාබනික ද්‍රව්‍ය වැඩි වෙනකොට දැන්. The problem in fish culture is when pig manure is added to the water, for the decomposition of pig manure, bacteria uses a lot of oxygen. So the oxygen level in the pond can be reduced very quickly. Oxygen level can be very low. Now here you can see pig and fish culture. Not like duck and fish culture, pig and fish culture is not very popular. But in China, Vietnam, you can see this practice, even in Malaysia. Here again, we can grow our vegetables, our fruits, and we can raise pigs and fish together. Okay? And as pig dung is highly nutritious, as contains a lot of nutrients, phytoplankton and zooplankton grow very well. And also, here, because of high nutrient level, macrovegetation and gas aquatic plants will grow. If aquatic plants grow, we can add grass carp. So this carp called grass carp because it eats plant matter. Because it eats plant matter, it is called grass carp. So we can add grass carp into this pond. Pig and fish culture. Because pig manure contains a lot of nutrients, phytoplankton, zooplankton will grow, and also a lot of plants will grow. If plants grow on the bottom in our pond, we can add plant eaters, plant eating fish like grass carp. And here as species, so these are Indian carps, Katla, Rohu, Regala. These are Indian carps. They are Indian carps. They are native to India. They are coming from India. Silver carp, grass carp, common carp. They are Chinese carps. They are coming from China. So here we can culture Indian carps and Chinese carps together. Indian carps and Chinese carps together when we culture pigs. Now, I'm sure that you all have, when I discuss this subject, this topic, integrated aquaculture, I'm sure that you all have problems with regarding potential health hazards of fish from manured ponds. Here we are adding animal excreta into the pond, and our fish will eat them, and also this excreta will add nutrients to the pond. Now the problem is, what about pathogens? What about diseases? Animals like birds, like chicken, pig, ducks, they are warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals like us. So we have a lot of similarities. So the animals infected into fish can easily infect it to us, and also the bacteria. So therefore, in some countries, this type of integrated aquaculture is not very well recognized. But in some countries in Asia and Africa, this is widely practiced. But with regarding a nutrient conversion efficiency, integrated aquaculture should be promoted. Otherwise, this duck excreta will become waste. Now we can convert them into fish flesh. So with regarding conversion efficiency, integrated aquaculture is very important and should be promoted, right? And whatever the integrated aquaculture system we practice should not pose any health hazard to consumers. So the people will eat our fish. So our fish should be clean enough. Otherwise, we should not practice that aquaculture commercially. Okay? And it can cause human diseases, and it may transfer diseases to other fish, right? And microorganisms like Salmonella, Vibrio can easily transfer, and some worms can transfer. So we have to be very careful. Okay. And one important point here is fish are cold-blooded animals. We are warm-blooded animals. Therefore, most of our pathogens do not infect to fish. Most of our pathogens do not infect to fish. Okay. Now, if we culture fish with duck, fish with chicken, fish with pig, what is the simplest method to keep our ponds clean before the harvest? After 6 months, we are planning to harvest our fish. After 6 months, we are planning to harvest our fish. After 6 months. Now, how to keep our ponds clean before the harvest? So we have fish, we have pigs, we have ducks, we have chicken. But before fish is harvested, we want to clean the pond. What we can do? I mentioned you this before. What we do in integrated aquaculture, before we immediately or 2 weeks before we take the fish harvest, we can remove pigs, ducks, and chicken from the pond. Now, there's only fish in the pond. Then what we do? We can remove 75% of water and refill. We can remove 75% of water and refill the pond. New water, no chicken, no ducks, no pigs, no cattle. So without any other animals, fish will grow all alone for 2-3 weeks. Then pond become very clean, fish become clean, no more pathogens. So we can harvest fish and sell them in the market. And even pigs, chicken have diseases, they may not transfer to fish because fish are cold-blooded animals. We are warm-blooded animals. Birds and mammals are warm-blooded animals. Why we call them warm-blooded? අපේ ශරීරයේ උෂ්ණත්වය වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපේ ශරීරයේ උෂ්ණත්වය පරිසර උෂ්ණත්වය අනුව වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි විශාල ශක්තියක් වැය කරලා අපේ දේහ උෂ්ණත්වය පවත්වගෙන යනවා. හැබැයි මාළුන්ට එහෙම බෑ. මාළුවාගේ දේහ උෂ්ණත්වය පරිසර උෂ්ණත්වය අනුව වෙනස් වෙනවා. මාළුවාගේ දේහයේ උෂ්ණත්වය පරිසර උෂ්ණත්වය අනුව වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලන්ට අපි කියන cold blooded animals කියලා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ blood cold blooded. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ උෂ්ණත්වය පරිසර උෂ්ණත්වය අනුව වෙනස් වෙනවා. අපේ එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. කුරුල්ලන්ගේ එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Therefore, fortunately, most of our diseases will not transfer to fish. Okay? That's animals and fish. Mammals and birds and fish. Let's see how we integrate fish farming with agriculture. Now, you all are studying agriculture technology. You know about agriculture, right? Japan, Malaysia, Italy, China, India, even in Germany. They practice agriculture and fish culture together. Agriculture and fish culture together. Look at this. Rice fish farming system in China. Fish grow in the paddy field. So farmer gets 3-4 times more profit when they culture fish and paddy together. Why don't you see this practice in Sri Lanka? This is very popular in China. More than 2-3 million people practice rice fish culture in China. In Sri Lanka, the population is 22 million. In China, 3 million practice rice fish culture. Can you see the popularity of this aquaculture practice? We don't practice this method in Sri Lanka. Mainly, we don't use tall rice varieties. Our rice varieties are not very tall, the varieties we culture here. And the other thing is, we do not keep water throughout the growing period in paddy fields. We do not keep water throughout the growing period in the paddy fields. So therefore, we can't culture fish and rice together. This is very efficient method, highly profitable. So the fish we culture in paddy fields should be able to live in shallow water. Should be able to live in shallow water. නොගැඹුරු දියේ. මොකද කුඹුරක වතුර ප්‍රමාණය අපිට ගොඩාක් වැඩි කරන්න බෑ. Shallow water, නොගැඹුරු ජලයේ. And high temperature and high turbidity. හැම තිස්සෙම මඩ වතුර, මඩ ගතියයි. උෂ්ණත්වය වතුරේ වැඩි. So when we select species, we have to select species that can tolerate low water level, high temperature, high turbidity. So I will show you a small video clip, short video clip, where you will see highly turbid water. So they keep fish in highly turbid water. බොරතාවය හොඳටම වැඩි. බොරතාවය හොඳටම වැඩි. බොරතාවය වැඩි. We can මේගොල්ලන් Indian මාළු. Indian carps ලා. ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියන Indian carps ලා කියලා. Cattle. Cattle. Labiorhita, Cirrus migala, Clarias, Channa, Mughal, latest Calcarifer. So මේ වගේ මාළු, they are hardy. They can tolerate temperature variations. They can be cultured with paddy. Okay. So when you watch this video, you will see this is very interesting. Actually, this is practiced in China. Okay, I copied. Stop share. This can go. Okay, let's see. Let's see our video. This is China. More than 1,000 years, Chinese people grow fish with rice. Okay, you can watch this actually. You may not be able to watch it clearly when I show you. So I have given you the link. So therefore, I think you can watch it later. So using this link I give you. So in my presentation, so you can watch it later. Okay, right. That's all for integrated aquaculture, and we will move to our next presentation. Our next presentation is on water quality. This is a very important subject area when we consider aquaculture as a subject. Aquaculture as a subject, water quality. Uh, Principles of aquatic bioresource and aquaculture. So this is the course unit. And under this, we will study water quality management. Water quality management, which is very important in aquaculture because we keep our fish in the water. We keep our fish in the water. Then how do we manage the water quality? How do we manage the water quality? That is what we study in this presentation. Within next few weeks, this is what we will study, the water quality management in aquaculture. And you need to carefully listen to this presentation. Here we will discuss a lot about management, especially chemical parameters, physical parameters. So how to develop a suitable, conducive, good environment for our fish. Otherwise, fish will not grow. They will get diseases. So therefore, it is very important to manage water quality. Okay. Now, when it comes to aquaculture, so there are so many things that we do uh, in order to get a profit. It is necessary to have good husbandry. That means we have to look after our fish very well. We have to provide them good nutrients. And their genetics are also important. Not all the fish will grow faster. Not all the fish will have desirable qualities. Now, when you try to sell your fish in the market, people will check the taste of your fish, color of your fish, size of your fish. So all this matters a lot because it is a business. It's a business. So genetics of your stocks, very important. Then you have to manage your pond very well. Otherwise, fish will not survive. They will die. They will die if you do not treat them. Then you have to provide them a very good environment. Good environment. And good biosecurity, biological security. So diseases should not be there. You have to provide good environment. Good environment. Now, can you look at these three circles? Environment, pathogen, and fish. Now, three of these three circles now overlap. Here, environment and fish. Environment overlap with fish. That means fish lives in our environment. What is environment? Our cage, our tank, our pond, our pen, our raceway. They are the environment. Fish and environment. Will there be diseases? My question is, fish live in the environment. Will there be any disease? Shall we ask another question? Fish and pathogen. No environment. Fish live somewhere, pathogen also live, but no environment, no water, no medium. Will there be a disease? Shall I ask another question? In the environment, there are pathogens. Can there be a disease? When you see a disease, you will see a disease here. You will see a disease here. Why? Environment, fish, pathogen. When these three components interact, then only you see disease. There should be fish, there should be pathogens, and the environment should support. Environment should support. What is environment? Water. If water is in good quality, pathogens, even pathogens and fish live together, there cannot be a disease. Environment also should contribute. Then only pathogens become pathogenic and infect into fish. Now, even for us, when we are living in stress, depression for a long time, our immunity drops. People who are under stress get easily infected. Happy people with good health will not get diseases easily. If our internal environment become weak, if we are malnourished, if our internal environment weak, then pathogens can infect us. Fish, when they live even with pathogens, if the environment is very good quality, pathogens may not infect fish because fish are not under stress. Happy fish will not be easily infected by pathogens, but unhappy fish will be infected by pathogens. The happiness partly depends on the external environment where fish lives. Fish live in the water. In the water, there are always pathogens. There are bacteria, there are fungus, there are other protozoans, disease-causing agents, but pathogens cannot infect fish if fish is so healthy. If environment is poor, fish will be affected. Fish immunity will become poor, immunity will be lower, then pathogens will infect fish. Therefore, if you want to get rid of diseases, what you should do? Maintain water quality. Maintain good water quality. If you want to keep your fish healthy, maintain your water quality. Not like other animals. Fish live in water. They eat in the water. They excrete into the water. They are surrounded by their excreta. And when they keep fish in ponds and tanks, they are confined to small space. Punchi area hai hida vela inne. So the environmental quality can deteriorate anytime. environment quality can deteriorate anytime. So we have to look after them well. Okay, that is why water quality. The important thing is fish perform all bodily functions in water: eating, breathing, excreting waste, reproduction, taking in or removing salts from the body. All the functions, all the bodily functions, they do while living in the water. The problem is where they are living in aquaculture. In aquaculture, they are living in small, confined environment. Our fish tanks, they're small. We keep our fish here. They are living in a difficult environment like this. When they live in natural environment, they have freedom to move here and there. If the environment is bad, they can move away, swim away. But in aquaculture pond, they are restricted. They are in a like prison. They are in a prison. They can't move away. So where they eat, once a scientist says, when we keep fish in tanks, it's like you are living in your washroom. Can you imagine if you live in your washroom all day? So that is what fish faces in their life. They eat, they breathe, they excrete, they reproduce. They sometimes absorb salt, release salts. Same water, confined environment, nowhere to swim away. They are restricted, they are in prison. So the water quality is very important. As they excrete, as they eat, all their food, leftovers of food, whatever they don't eat, remain in the pond. Food particles, whatever they don't eat, remain in the water. So that affect their health. So therefore, water quality management is really important in aquaculture. Water quality management is very important in aquaculture. So therefore, water quality affect the survival of fish. Water quality affect the survival of the fish. That means water quality will affect yield. Water quality will affect yield. Water quality affect your profit. Water quality will affect your profit. Your water quality will determine whether you will be successful or fail in aquaculture operation. Therefore, water quality is very important. When it comes to water quality, we have to consider physical features, biological features, and chemical features. Physical features, biological features, and chemical features. Physical and chemical features together called physicochemical features or physicochemical parameters. Now the question is physical parameters, biological parameters, chemical parameters. What are physical parameters of water? Tell me, what are the physical parameters of water? What are the chemical parameters of water? What are the biological parameters of water? Can you tell me? So you all have studied chemistry. when you are in the advanced level class. Now tell me, what are the physical parameters of water? What are the biological parameters of water?
And taste of physical parameters.
Very good. Very good. Very good answer. Very good answer. Color and taste. Sorry. Color. Taste is a chemical parameter. Color is a physical parameter. Anything else?
Temperature.
Yes, temperature is a physical parameter. Temperature is a physical parameter. Very good.
Solids.
Yes, suspended solids. If there are solid dissolved
Turbidity.
turbidity, that is very good. They are physical parameters. Very good. Temperature, turbidity, color, suspended solids, they are physical parameters. What are chemical parameters?
pH.
pH, yes, very good.
Chlorine.
pH, chlorine, nitrate, ammonia, nitrite, phosphate, calcium, magnesium,
Acidity.
sodium. Acidity, yes, pH, acidity, basicity, alkalinity. They are chemical parameters. Biological parameters, whatever the organisms, even zooplankton, phytoplankton, bacteria, fungus, disease-causing agents, they are biological parameters. For physical and chemical parameters together is called physicochemical parameters. Physical parameters: temperature, turbidity, total dissolved solids, total suspended solids, color. Now, I have given you recommended limits. Temperature. It is very difficult to give a recommended limit for temperature. It all depends on the species we culture. Temperature varies among species. Turbidity, NTU. Turbidity I ban in NTU. Nattelson turbidity units, NTU, turbidity should be smaller than 20. For the hatchery, එකන පොඩි පැටව බිත්තර රකින hatchery එකේ බොහොම අඩු turbidity එකක් තියෙනවා. But you know that some fish can live in very high turbid water, like carps. Even very high turbid water, they can survive. But for the hatcheries, we have to have very low turbidity level. Dissolved solids should be less than 200. Total suspended solids should be lower than 80. And color varies. Color depend on so many factors. Okay, physical parameters. Chemical parameters: salinity, pH, alkalinity, dissolved oxygen, ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, chlorine, hydrogen sulfide. So within brackets, I have given you the unit. Salinity we measure used PPT. What is PPT? Parts per thousand. Parts per thousand. Alkalinity, ppm. Parts per million. Parts per million. ppm. ppm කියන එක සමාන වෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලන් දන්න අනිත් යුනිට් එකට. ppm කියන්නේ ඇත්තට මිලිග්‍රෑම් per liter කියන එකම තමයි. ppm කියන්නේ milligram per liter. Dissolved oxygen, ppm. Ammonia, ppm. Nitrite, nitrate, chlorine, hydrogen sulfide, ppm. So these are general figures. මේවා කටපාඩම් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අවබෝධ කරගන්න තමයි මේ numbers මම දීලා තියෙන්නේ. මේවා වැඩි කටපාඩම් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. But you need to know there are variation. Oxygen. Cold water fish, 6 milligram per liter. Warm water fish, 4 milligram per liter. Nitrate should be always very low. Very low. Smaller than 0.1 milligram per liter. මෙතන milligram per liter කියන්නේ ppm තමයි. Okay. Nitrate should be very low. Why nitrate should be very low? These are the questions that you have to answer. Nitrate should be less than 1 milligram per liter. Hydrogen sulfide should be very, very low. Smaller than 0.003. Hydrogen sulfide very, very low. Why? Chlorine very low. Why? Ammonia, 2 types of ammonia. Ammonia අපේ පරිසරයේ වතුරේ වර්ග දෙවිධයකට තියෙනවා. Ammonia තියෙන පුළුවන් මේ විදිහට. NH3. NH3 කියන්නේ unionized ammonia. NH3, unionized ammonia. Fish excrete NH3, ammonia. When ammonia released into water, react with hydrogen. And that it is a two-way reaction. It produces NH4 plus. NH4 plus. මේ තියෙන්නේ ammonia. මේ තියෙන්නේ ammonium ion. Ammonium ion. Ammonia and ammonium. NH3 is called unionized ammonia. NH3. NH3 is highly toxic. For long-term exposure, should be less than 0.02. Long-term exposure. For short-term exposure, acute කියන්නේ කෙටි කාලයක් තුල මාළුවට මේ වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක් දරා ගන්න පුළුවන්. කෙටි කාලයක් තුල acute. Alkalinity අපි දන්නවා කාබනේට් බයිකාබනේට් ප්‍රමාණය තමයි අපි alkalinity වලින් මනින්නේ. මොකද මනින්නේ alkalinity වලින් කාබනේට් බයිකාබනේට් less than 20. Acidity pH තියෙනවා 6යි 9යි අතර neutral pH එක. Then biological parameters. Different biological parameters. Phytoplankton, diatom, dinoflagellate, phytoplankton, diatom, dinoflagellate, zooplankton, benthos කියන්නේ මොනවද? Benthos, what are benthos? What are benthos? Benthos කියන්නේ benthic organisms. Benthic කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? benthic කියන්නේ පතුලේ ජීවත් වෙන. benthic කියන්නේ පතුලේ ජීවත් වෙන. benthos කියන්නේ පතුලේ ජීවත් වෙන ජීවීන්, පණුව වර්ග, පුංචි සත්තු, පුංචි insects ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම benthos. Then water plants, they are also biological parameters. Water insects, protozoans, bacteria, fungi. So these are biological parameters, important biological parameters. Important biological parameters. Phytoplankton, diatom, dinoflagellates, zooplankton, benthic organisms, water plants, water insects, protozoans, bacteria, fungi, virus, they all biological parameters. We know now that chemical parameters, physical parameters, biological parameters. In aquaculture pond also, there's a nutrient cycle. Nutrient recycle within aquaculture pond. Bacteria form the base of the food chain within an aquaculture pond. Bacteria. Bacteria, therefore, very important. What bacteria does? Bacteria break down organic matter to produce nutrients such as phosphorus, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. In aquaculture pond, food chain start from detritus. One of the detritus can detritus. මේ වචනය ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරට අහලා තියෙනවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නැති වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Detritus. දැන් මේ ඇත්තනම ලෙක්චර් එකක් යනකොට හොඳ රිසල්ට් ගන්න එකක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තමන්ගේ නෝට්ස් අතින් ලියා ගන්න වෙනවා. දැන් මේ ලෙක්චර් එක යන අතරේ කියන වැදගත් කරුණු සටහන් කරගන්න වෙනවා. If you want to get a good grade. එහෙම නැති සමහර කම්මැලි ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් නම් ෆෝන් එකෙන් ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එක දාගෙන ඕක දිහා බලාගෙන වෙන මොනවා හරි හිත ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඉතින් දැන් අපේ undergraduatesලා විදියට අපි දැනගන්න ඕන අපි කොහොමද වැඩි හොඳ ග්‍රේඩ් එකක් ගන්න කියලා. අර මේ කාලය නාස්ති කළ යුතුද නැද්ද කියන එකත් අපිම තීරණය කරගන්න වෙනවා. කෙනෙකුට හිතන්න පුළුවන් ඔන්න ඔහේ මම ওই ලෙක්චර්ස් යනවා ඔහේ අහගෙන ඉන්නවා මොනවා හරි ලියනවා ඔනෝ පාස් වුණොත් පාස් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ෆේල් වුණොත් ෆේල් වෙනවා. බොහොම සරලව මේක හිතන්නත් පුළුවන්. හැබැයි බොහොම සීරියස් විදිහට මේක හිතලා බොහොම මහන්සියෙන් උනන්දුවෙන් ලෙක්චරර් කියන දේවල් පොඩි පොතක් අරගෙන පොතේ පොඩියට ලියාගෙන ඒකයි ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එකයි දෙකම එකට තියාගෙන හොඳට පාඩම් කරොත් හොඳ ග්‍රේඩ් එකක් ගන්න බැරි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකට මම මේ නියුට්‍රියන්ට් සයිකල් එක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරද්දී detritus කියලා වචනයක් දෙනවා. Detritus. What is detritus?
කාදනේ උගරලු.
කාදනේ තමයි හැබැයි බොරළු නෙවෙයි. detritus කියලා අපි හඳුන්වන්නේ දිරා යන ශාක හා සත්ව ද්‍රව්‍ය. දැන් සතෙක් මැරුණොත් දිරා යනවා. ගහක් මැරුණොත් දිරා යනවා. එතකොට මේ ගහක් දිරනවා සතක් දිරනවා. හැබැයි දෙන්නම දිරා යනවා. එක කාලයක් එනවා මේ දිරා ගියපු සතායත් දිරා ගියපු ගහත් දෙකම අපිට බලලා සුවඳ බලලා අල්ලලා බලලා කියන්න බෑ මේ ගහක කොටස්ද මේ සතෙක්ගේ කොටස්ද කියලා. අන්න ඒ ලෙවල් එකට ආවට පස්සේ අපි ඒවට කියනවා detritus කියලා. detritus කියන්නේ organic matter. ඒවා ඉන්නේ ශාක වලින් සහ සතුන්ගේ. හැබැයි අපිට ලොකු පරිශ්‍රණයක් කරන්නේ නැතුව එකපාරටම බලලා කියන්න බෑ මේක සතෙක්ගේ detritusද ශාකවල detritusද කියලා. කළු පාට දිරා යන කොටස් ටික තමයි අපි detritus කියලා හඳුන්වන්නේ. ඒතර මේ detritus බවට පත් කරන්නේ කවුද මේක? පසේ ජීවත් වෙන ජීවි, insectsලා, පුංචි සත්තු. මේවා පොඩියට කපලා කෑලි වලට කඩලා දිරාපත් කරන්නේ bacteria, fungus and small animals. So that is why in aquaculture ponds detritus very important. What are detritus? අපේ මාළු මැරුණොත් detritus වෙනවා. algae මැරුණොත් detritus වෙනවා. phytoplankton මැරුණොත්, zooplankton මැරුණොත් මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? ඒවා detritus බවට පත් වෙනවා. ඊළඟට අපි මාළුන්ට කෑම දෙනවා. මේ කෑම මාළු කෑවේ නැතොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒවත් detritus බවට පත් වෙනවා. So therefore, in aquaculture pond, there is lots of detritus. Decaying plant and animal matter. Bacteria play a very big role here. Because of bacterial breakdown of organic matter, it produces a lot of phosphorus, nitrogen, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere and partly used by photosynthesis. But what about nitrogen and phosphorus? Nutrients are added to the water. When nutrients are added to the water, what is the next step? These nutrients will be absorbed by plants. Nutrients will be absorbed by plants. What are the plants? Mainly phytoplankton. Phytoplankton. Phytoplankton will grow. Phytoplankton will provide food for zooplankton. Then zooplankton will grow. So then zooplankton and phytoplankton provide food for fish. Fish will eat phytoplankton and zooplankton, and when fish excrete, they will add nutrients again to the water. So when there is nutrients, plankton will go. Plankton will grow. Phytoplankton and zooplankton. They will grow. They will produce oxygen. Zooplankton will eat phytoplankton. Zooplankton will eat phytoplankton. Then zooplankton excrete and produce nutrients. Phytoplankton. Phytoplankton. They flourish, they grow. They grow very quickly, microscopic. They need nutrients. They need nutrients. Bacteria will decompose dead plant and animal matter and release nutrients, nitrate, phosphate, potassium into the water. Phytoplankton will absorb them and they will grow. Phytoplankton will provide food for zooplankton. Zooplankton will grow. Phytoplankton and zooplankton both will provide food for our fish. Zooplankton, animal component, small, microscopic, highly nutritious food for our fish. Highly nutritious food for our fish. So when there is zooplankton and phytoplankton, our fish will eat them. Then our fish need more nutrients. What we do? We give supplementary feed. අපේ ටැංකියේ ඉන්න මාළු සත්ව ප්‍රවාංග ශාක ප්‍රවාංග ආහාරයට ගන්න. ඊට අමතරව එයාලට තව ආහාර අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ නිසා අපි එයාලට දෙනවා supplementary feed. Feed දෙනවා supplementary කියන්නේ තියෙන feed වලට අමතරව දෙන නිසා අපි supplement එකක් විදියට දෙනවා. Supplementary feed එකක් දෙනවා අපේ මාළු. Uneaten feed. Uneaten feed. Dead aquatic organisms like plankton and any other dead animal will settle on the bottom. Then bacteria feed on this decaying organic matter and the cycle will commence again. If you are asked to discuss nutrient cycling process in a semi-intensively managed aquaculture pond, can you answer that question? Discuss the nutrient cycling in semi-intensively managed aquaculture pond. Can you answer? Fish if they die, plankton if they die, plants if they die, uneaten feed, මාළු කෑවේ නැතුව ඉතුරු වෙන feed ටික, they all settle on the bottom. Then bacteria will be very active. Bacteria and fungus will decompose whatever the material, organic material on the bottom. Because of bacterial action, nutrients will release into the water. Carbon dioxide will release into the water. So the nutrients will be absorbed by phytoplankton. Phytoplankton will grow. Phytoplankton provide food for zooplankton. Zooplankton will grow. Phytoplankton and zooplankton both provide food for our fish. Then fish will eat them. Fish will grow. Fish will die. Fish excreta will add again nutrients to the water. So there's a cycle. There's a cycle in the pond. There's a cycle in the pond. We need to understand the science, what is happening in the pond. There are many aquaculture farmers who do not have any idea about what is happening in the water, but they are good farmers. But as undergraduates, you need to know what is happening in the pond. Aquaculture pond is a nutrient cycling ecosystem. There's a cycling, nutrient cycle in the pond. This is what happened in aquaculture pond. These two arrows are very important. These two arrows. Bacteria produce nutrients. Then phytoplanktons will grow. Because of phytoplankton, zooplankton will grow. Phytoplankton produce oxygen. Bacteria will generate nutrients and carbon dioxide. Phytoplanktons will use carbon dioxide and nutrients. Photosynthesis. Oxygen will be used by zooplankton. Zooplankton will eat phytoplankton and they will grow. Zooplankton and phytoplankton become food of our fish and crayfish. Crayfish can swim. Finally, when they all die, they become decaying organic matter. Then bacteria will react. Even when bacteria die, bacteria also become organic matter. Can you see the nutrient cycling process in aquaculture pond? Can you explain this cycle? I may ask a question from this video. I may ask a question about nutrient cycling, duck fish culture. Okay. Organic matter, bacteria, phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, and our shrimp, that they all die and produce nutrients. Photosynthesis, oxygen production. Oxygen is utilized by plants and other animals. Nutrients and carbon dioxide will be used under the sunlight. Sunlight should be there. Sunlight, nutrients, carbon dioxide, photosynthesis. Hope this nutrient cycle is clear to you. Succession. When we stock fish into our ponds, there's a series of gradual changes happening in the pond? Series of gradual changes happening in the pond. So we have aquaculture ponds like this, where we keep our fish. So we stock fish first month, second month, third month. What would happen in our pond? So with time, there can be many changes in our pond. There can be many changes. How do we know? How do we know? There can be changes. What could happen in our pond? Fish will grow. What else? What else? Can you explain this graph? Can you explain this graph? First, pay your attention to our fish. When we stock fish, this is the time we stock our fish. In the pond, initially, sorry?
Fish feed on zooplanktons because of that. They decrease over time.
Yes, very good. Yes, that's right. That is how you try to explain this. Yes. So initially, there is no fish. When we add fertilizer, like cow dung, we can add cow dung as fertilizer. Cow dung. We can add chicken manure. We are talking about semi-intensive managed ponds, semi-intensive ponds, right? When you add fertilizer like cow dung and chicken manure, bacterial load will increase very quickly. Can you see? Bacterial load will increase quickly. And after decomposition, what happened to cow dung and chicken manure? They will decompose. Then no substrate for bacterial growth. Bacteria වලට හැදෙන්න තිබුණු substrate එක ඉවර වෙනවා. ඉවර වෙනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙනවා. බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙනවා. බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙනකොට පරිසරයේ තව දෙයක් වෙනවා. මේ බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙන්නේ ඇයි? cow dung අඩු වෙනවා. chicken manure අඩු වෙනවා. අපි දාපු පෝර එක අඩු වෙනවා. පෝර අඩු වෙනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මොනවද වැඩි වෙන්නේ? අපි පොහොර විදියට cow dung, chicken manure වගේ දේවල් පාවිච්චි කරනවා. හැබැයි මේ දේ බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙනවා. බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වෙන්න හේතුව බැක්ටීරියා වලට ඩිකම්පෝස්ට් කරන්න කවුඩන් ඉතුරු වෙලා නැහැ. කවුඩන් අයින් වෙනවා. කවුඩන් අයින් වෙනකොට මොකද්ද පොකුණට එකතු වෙන්නේ? කවුඩන් ඩිකම්පෝස් වෙනවා කියන්නේ පොකුණට එකතු වෙනවා නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස්. පොකුණට නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් එකතු වෙනවා. කවුඩන් ඩිකම්පෝස් වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා කාබන් ඩයොක්සයිඩ් බවට පත් වෙලා නයිට්‍රජන් රිලීස් කරලා. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? බැක්ටීරියා වලට තවදුරටත් පොහොර නැහැ, කවුඩන් නැහැ. ඒතර බැක්ටීරියා ප්‍රමාණය අඩු වෙනවා. හැබැයි බැක්ටීරියා අඩු වුණාට බැක්ටීරියල් ඇක්ෂන් එක නිසා මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් වැඩි වෙනවා. නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් වැඩි වෙනකොට වෙන්නේ ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් growth එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් growth එක වැඩි වෙනවත් එක්කම ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් වැඩි වෙන එක දිහා බලාගෙන තව එකක් වර්ධනය වෙනවා. ඒ තමයි සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන්. සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන් වර්ධනය වෙනවා. හැබැයි අපි හරියටම මෙන්න මේ වෙලාවේ තමයි අපි මාළු පොකුණට දාන්න ඕන. මෙන්න මේක ඉතුරු. හොඳටම ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් හැදුන වෙලාවේ අපි මාළු දානවා පොකුණට. ඒකට අපේ මාළු මොකද කරන්නේ? මාළු ආහාරයට ගන්නවා ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් උත් ආහාරයට ගන්නවා සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන් උත් ආහාරයට ගන්නවා. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් අඩු වෙනවා, සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන් අඩු වෙනවා. හැබැයි මාළු ග්‍රෝ වෙනවා. That is what happened. That is what happened. Now tell me whether you can explain this graph. මතක තියාගන්න අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ semi intensively managed pond එකක් ගැන. මේ අපි කතා කරන්නේ semi intensively managed pond එකක් ගැන. මම කිව්වහම semi intensively managed කියලා I am sure that you know what is a semi intensively managed pond. We discussed about extensive aquaculture, semi intensive aquaculture and intensive aquaculture. මේ අපි දකින්නේ පොහොර දාලා පොකුණේ ප්‍රවාංග වර්ධනය කරගත්ත පොකුණක ඇතිවන තත්ත්වය. මුලදී මාළු නැහැ. හැබැයි ගොම පොහොර තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, චිකන් පොහොර තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, දෙකම උනත් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට ඕගනික් මැටර් වැඩි. ඕගනික් මැටර් වැඩි වෙනකොට කියන්නේ බැක්ටීරියා වල ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය වැඩි වෙනවා. බැක්ටීරියා හොඳටම ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය වැඩි වෙලා ඕගනික් මැටර් ඔක්කොම ටික ඩිකම්පෝස්ට් කරනවා. ඕගනික් මැටර් ඩිකම්පෝස්ට් කරනවා කියන්නේ එයාලා ප්‍රොඩියුස් කරන්නේ මොනවද? ඕගනික් මැටර් වල තියෙන කාබන්, හයිඩ්‍රජන්, ඔක්සිජන්. ඩිකම්පොසිෂන් වලින් පස්සේ මොනවද හැදෙන්නේ? කාබන් ඩයොක්සයිඩ් හැදෙනවා, වෝටර් හැදෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව මේවට ඇටච් වෙලා තියෙනවා නයිට්‍රජන්, ෆොස්ෆරස්, සල්ෆර්, පොටෑසියම්. මේ ඔක්කොම නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් ටික එළියට ඉදහස් වෙනවා. නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස්. බැක්ටීරියා වල ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය හින්දා මෙන්න මේ ඕගනික් මැටර් ඩිකම්පෝස් වෙනවා. හැබැයි නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් පරිසරයට එකතු වෙනවා. නියුට්‍රියන්ට්ස් එකතු වෙනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් ග්‍රෝ වෙනවා. ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් ග්‍රෝ වෙන එක දිහා බලාගෙන තව කට්ටියක් ඉන්නවා ග්‍රෝ වෙන්න බලාගෙන. ඒ තමයි සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන්. සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන් කන්නේ ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන්. ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන්, සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන්, ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් හොඳටම හැදෙන වෙලාවක් බලලා අපි මාළු පැටව දානවා පොකුණට. ඒකට අපේ මාළු පැටව මේ දෙකම ආහාරයට අරගෙන මාළු පැටව වැඩි වෙනවා. මාළු පැටව ග්‍රෝ වෙන්න සූප්ලැන්ක්ටන්, ෆයිටෝප්ලැන්ක්ටන් පොකුණෙන් අයින් වෙනවා. Succession. Now, as undergraduates, tell me how you use this diagram to increase yield in your aquaculture pond. මේක පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔයාලා කොහොමද අපේ අවශ්‍යතාවයේ තියෙන මත්ස්‍ය අත්සන්න වැඩි කරගන්න? කොහොමද අපි ඒක කරගන්නේ? කොහොමද අපි ඒක කරගන්නේ? ඒක කරගන්න නම් අපි කරගන්න ඕන දෙයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි phytoplankton growth එක මෙතන තියාගන්න ඕන. zooplankton growth එක මෙතන තියාගන්න ඕන. phytoplankton zooplankton අඩු නොවී තියාගන්න ඕනේ. අඩු නොවී තියාගන්න ඕනේ. අඩු නොවී තියාගන්න අපි මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? කොහොමද අපි phytoplankton zooplankton අඩු නොවී තියාගන්නේ? මොකක් කරලාද? මොකද කරන්නේ?
බැක්ටීරියා පවත්වාගෙන
බැක්ටීරියා පවත්වාගෙන යන්න ඕන. very good. බැක්ටීරියා පවතින්නේ මොනවා පැවතුනොත්ද?
අවුඩාංචි ගන්නන
fertilizer. very good. අන්න එහෙම තමයි හිතන්න. අපිට එතකොට වරින් වර fertilizer add කරන්න වෙනවා. fertilizer add කරොත් බැක්ටීරියා ඉන්නවා. බැක්ටීරියා හිටියොත් nutrients තියෙනවා. nutrients තිබුණොත් phytoplankton තියෙනවා. phytoplankton තිබුණොත් zooplankton තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපේ මාළුන්ට කෑම තියෙනවා.
resources සම්පත් fertilizer කියනවා chemical fertilizer bio resource
fertilizer can be chemical or
දාන්න දෙනවා.
are you asking a question or what it is?
අලුත් වචන මාසයන් අලුත් වචන ගොඩක් ඉගෙන ගන්න මෙන්න. මාරුයි. මම ඉතනම සමාන ලෙක්චර් ප්‍රොෆිසියොලොජිකල් ලෙක්චර් දෙනවා. ඌ මේ වගේ මේ වගේ මේ
fertilizer can be chemical fertilizer or organic fertilizer. But if you consider bacteria, you have to add organic fertilizer, right? You don't need the support of bacteria if you add chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer පාවිච්චි කරලා phytoplankton zooplankton growth එක ඉහළ මට්ටමක තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. What is important is we have to provide nutrients. We have to provide nutrients to our fish. That is what is more important. So we discuss nutrient cycling in aquaculture pond. We discuss succession in aquaculture pond. Now I ask you a question. This is tilapia. Water quality in a tilapia culture pond has deteriorated. Water contains high ammonia, high nitrite, high suspended solids. Organic turbidity is also high. Now my question is, on your mic, and tell the possible impacts of this condition of water on the cultured tilapia. What could happen to cultured tilapia?
decreased body growth rate,
It will affect their growth. Yes, they will not grow. Because water contains high ammonia, high nitrite, high suspended solids, organic turbidity. They will not grow. What else could happen to tilapia? What else could happen to tilapia? What could happen to tilapia if water level deteriorate like this? What do you think? They will not grow, of course. What else? How tilapia will respond if there is high ammonia, high nitrite, high suspended solids? When I start this lecture on water quality, I discuss about 3 cycles: fish, disease, and environment. Why don't you link my question with those 3 circles? Water quality in a tilapia culture pond.
Breeding, they cannot breeding.
Yes, of course. If we breed them, definitely they will not breed. They will not breed. Because when water quality is unsuitable, fish stop breeding. They will not lay eggs. When you are in the 3rd year, you will further study about aquaculture and you will study about breeding of fish. Then you will understand how important the environment when it comes to breeding of fish. What else? What else? There's a lot of suspended solids. How suspended solids affect fish?
They can't breathe.
Very good. That is the answer I expect. They can't breathe because suspended solids clog the gills. When there are too much of suspended solids, they will clog their gills and they will not be able to breathe properly. They can't breathe properly, so they will die. They will die. High suspended solid. When I say organic turbidity, also high. Organic turbidity. Turbid water because of organic particles. What are organic particles? Phytoplankton and zooplankton. What is inorganic turbidity? Inorganic turbidity කියන්නේ sand, silt, clay වගේ දේවල් වලින් එන turbidity එකට අපි කියනවා inorganic turbidity කියලා. Organic turbidity කියන්නේ phytoplankton, zooplankton වලින් එන turbidity එක. When phytoplankton, zooplankton too high in the water, light will not penetrate to the bottom layer. If light will not penetrate to the bottom layers, there is no oxygen in the bottom layers. So again, animal can't breathe. How ammonia and nitrite affects. So I showed you water quality parameters. I told you that ammonia should be very, very low. Nitrite should be very, very low. Hydrogen sulfide should be very, very low. Why? They affect fish physiology. They affect fish physiology. Their breathing will be affected. Their blood will be affected. And because fish live in a difficult environment, pathogens, bacteria, other disease causing agents become very active. Very active. They will infect to our fish. They will infect to our fish. Our fish will die. They will not grow. They will not grow. They will get diseases. Then farmers should know what to do, how to handle this problem. Rest of this presentation we will continue next week. Most probably next week also I will take lecture on Saturday. Wednesday I have to go to Open University to deliver a lecture Wednesday. So the Friday also I'm not available. In most, so the possibilities I will take my next lecture on Saturday. Anyway, I will inform you in advance. Okay. Do you have any question to ask? I think I have shared you some of the presentations. I will share these presentations also. So within another 2-3 lectures, we can finish this course unit. I think you can get past question papers. Get the photocopies of past question papers and see the type of questions I have asked from the previous batches. So accordingly, you can guess what type of questions we'll ask, right? Okay, shall I stop now then? Can you schedule lectures at 8 p.m. next Saturday? Yes, sure, I can. Okay. So if I take lectures, okay. Okay, thank you for listening. I'll wind up here now. I'll talk to you next Saturday most probably. Have a good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Good night, sir.
Thank you.